Here's a video for the Kiwi Ears Quintet. If you'd like to win, I'm going to get another one from Lynn, so comment below this video. If you're a subscriber that I can see publicly, you qualify. Thumb up would be great for the algorithm. Try to win it. 200 might be too much for you. A lot of people out there, it's a significant amount of money. For the rest of you, let me tell you why I think this is something you should purchase. I have sets on my desk that you see all the time. This is like the easiest video I've done in a long time. Follow along and you'll kind of get why. This is the gold planar GL AMT. What does it have to do with the Quintet? You'll see very soon. This is a AMT transducer, and I don't have another one in my collection. That's why this never will go in a giveaway, because then I would have no AMT drivers. This was created by a company that used to be part of a single team that was, I believe, based in California. You can research all of this on Google. It's record. The development of the AMT transducer. The team split. One went to, I believe, Europe and founded HED, HEDD, and the other team went to China and founded Gold Planar, or eventually founded Gold Planar, but they were part of the team that developed the air motion transfer. This is special. I have nothing else like this. Therefore, it never goes anywhere. Let's take a look at what else I have on my table, because it's relevant to this video. That's the Elysian Acoustic Diva. It has all balanced armature. I've had that before. I can change the tuning into 3 different configurations, and one of them has a lot of bass. Right about to the spec limit of the BAs. Can't put more EQ on it because I've tried, but it's got enough bass. And there's nothing like it, and it's not dip switches, it's a rotary dial like the old Arsonics. Love it. Nothing like it in my collection. It will never be in a giveaway, because then I'd have nothing like it. The Grand Maestro. It's a tribrid. It's got 12 drivers. Dynamic, 7BA, 4EST. I've had lots of tribrids in my collection. Why is this one special? Because in some of the configurations got massive bass head amounts of low frequency done in a way that fat frequency is nailed down, and in other configurations, not with a dip switch, with a rocker or the valve chamber, I can have an audiophile type tuning with everything reasonably balanced. I wouldn't give that away, because then I would have nothing like it in my collection. One more, the fat frequency, not the fat frequency, the Subtonic Storm, $5,200. Wanted to support the boys in Singapore in their new endeavor. However, I was really attracted to the SLAM technology, which they claimed was them taking balanced armatures, which were sharing a nozzle, splitting them open, and independently crossing over each one. Therefore increasing the efficiency and the quality of the low end, and they called it SLAM, which is a clever way to name it. And that drew me into that set. All BA, or BA's taking care of the bass for that much money. I hope that SLAM works. And it did. And I promoted it, and I put it there all the time when I'm not listening to it because it's special. Give that away? No, because then I would have nothing like it in my collection. So you see the pattern here. The Gold Planar, the Subtonic, the Fat Frequency Maestro, the Diva. These are all doing things that the other ones don't, just that I've mentioned. The Quintet is a 4 type of driver set, 5 total, that is tuned like an excellently tuned dynamic driver, or an excellently tuned all BA set. That is brilliant. Sub bass over mid bass, great mids, nice sloping ear gain, a little notch at 6 kilohertz. It's got extension. That's a great tuning in whatever configuration that you have. They managed to stuff 4 different types, especially a couple drivers in there. Planar, which if it was doing the mid to upper mids, usually has a kind of lip, and PTZ, which is usually got some extra energy between 2 and 10 kilohertz that shows itself on graphs. But with the Quintet, they nailed it. So it's easy for me to recommend, because there's a high probability you don't have something just like the Quintet already in your collection. Can you see where I went with that? That took a long way to go around a very small bush, but I did it anyway. Now, let's talk about music, which is the most important thing. This is similar to nothing that I could quite nail down. I think there's a TRI out there that's a quadbrid, maybe, but I'm not sure. Possibly, but I can't find it, so I couldn't compare it. There's nothing else in its price range that I think the Geek World, but let's move along from that. I think that the bass, mids, treble, and res are all, remember, 5 out of 10 is average. I think these are all close to fantastic, but I'll give them a 7 across the board. There's nothing sticking out as the graph would indicate, which is an amplitude scale, there's literally nothing sticking out. It's not overly energetic in one area. It doesn't have a big bump in another. It's not precipitously rolling off. It doesn't have too much mid bass that's bleeding into the mids. It's tuned quite well. This does really good with stuff. If you listen to thrash metal, it's stuff with dual guitars with lots of distortion. You probably love this. I have a lot of stuff that's not quite that, but like Nirvana, Foo Fighters, old Cure, stuff like that, where there's just a lot of distortion pedals going on. This seems to play back that probably better than anything that I have in my collection. It's got the benefit of speed, and I can't quite put down where these drivers are, but it's nailing that. It does good with female vocals as well, while I'm on Bob Marley, who's not female at all. But it does female vocals really good. It does classical music, Vivaldi, Verdi, Tchaikovsky in particular, really well. And I wouldn't be surprised if a year from now some people are saying, you know, when I listen to classical music, I go for that set. It gives me the energetic kind of, which is, again, resolution with speed, without fatigue. The metal, the grunge, the distortion guitars are not so unrelated to the harmonics in an orchestra, where they can get quite busy and a lot of intensity because there's a lot of overtones and harmonics. Those are the same thing. This does quite good with that. It does okay with Big Boy Killjill. It has enough slam probably to satisfy most people that listen to stuff like EDM, trip hop, though it wouldn't be the set that I would recommend if you want to listen to bass dominant genres. I would think that you would do something else with that, something that has more elevation in the sub bass and maybe a little bit more mid bass. So tuning is brilliant. I think it plays back my library well. It wouldn't be the choice for hip hop. I did EQ it a little bit, and that's okay. Makes it okay, but I don't really talk about EQ with my reviews and my videos, so that would be something else. It's got a price of $219, a configuration quad, efficiency of 106, and an impedance of 32 ohms. It gets the rec because of what I've been talking about this whole time. You probably don't have it in your collection. They obviously really did a good job with the tuning, and it's $200, and it's gonna probably do stuff that nothing else you have does, because you don't have a quadbrid in your collection. And if you buy this, you will. And again, variety is the spice of life. Buying the same thing repeatedly over and over, as a reviewer, to say, hey, you should buy this hybrid, when I hyped a hybrid a month ago. You should buy this other one. It's hard to do. It's a lot easier with a type of configuration that you don't already have in your collection, because the whole redundancy is a huge topic that people talk about in Discords and forums. Like, I've already got a set like that. I think I'll pass on this one. I'll move along. Totally get it, as I've showed you what's on my table. The Subtonic Storm does not cancel out the Maestro, and vice versa. The Diva doesn't cancel out the AMT, and vice versa. They are unique in their own way, as the configuration would indicate. I'm a big believer in that, and I've said this before on my channel. When you got the chance, without going ridiculously and selling a kidney, to try something that you haven't tried before, unfortunately this is kind of pricey, pull the trigger and try. I would recommend the Quintet. I enjoy it myself. Sounds good out of an ADI 2DAC. Sounds good out of a SP3000 by Astel and Kern. Easy rec. A couple of people said on a forum, or at least one did, and it was brought to my attention, said, HBB, watch out, he's a Kiwi Ears simp, or shill, or something like that. I thought I was a SimGod simp, kind of, actually, because SimGod is the company that's just nailing it for me. Kiwi Ears, it's a quadbrid for $200. Yeah, you know, it's kind of easy to get behind creativity and good tuning, so if that's the image, I'm fine with that. Though in my own, how I viewed myself, I thought it was SimGod, because I just seem to be hyping their stuff constantly. And by the way, not sorry at all. Love the company. Both of them are doing great. Options are good for you. Competition is good for you. It drives down prices and increases creativity. Competition is good everywhere. It's particularly good for you as a consumer, because you get stuff like this that would have cost a lot more before at a much better price. And we see that in the dynamic driver, in the hybrids, dynamic driver and BA, and in all segments of this hobby. And this is an example of that. Quadbrid, 5 drivers, $219. Easy rec for me. plays my library, great. And I'm out.
Come